So these are two good references that I like. The author of both of them is Sandor Katz, Wild Fermentation and then The Art of Fermentation. And the gadgets that I use, there's a lot of variation. Some people have, I have my grandmother's crock, but I don't use it for this. But a lot of people like to do fermentation in a crock. I like glass jars because I like to watch the bubbles rise and see that there's actually fermentation going on. The first time I made kimchi, I went to a kimchi party, and instead of having these gadgets, put the kimchi in there, put in a rock that weights it down, cover it with a diaper, put a rubber band around it for gas exchange, and it can be that simple. You can spend money on gadgets. These are nice weights. I actually prefer these. I just got these and I haven't used them yet, but these are things to press it down. And this lid allows you to make a note of what day you started, and that's handy. And it allows gas exchange. And as far as the ingredients for the sauce, I just use canning salt. Some people say you have to use sea salt, but I've always used this and it works fine for me. And the sauce is made with basically garlic, ginger, and Guajillo peppers. And this is the package. So today I'm going to be making kimchi, and you can make it with grater, or you can make it chunky and cutting. I prefer this, so that's what I'm going to do today, but you can see the difference here. And so the base is napa cabbage, and I'm going to start cutting it into chunks and then put it into here and soak it in salt water.
And what's the purpose of the salt water?
It makes it limp. And the salt water is 1/4 cup of salt into half gallon. And very important, do not use chlorinated water. We're trying to grow microbes here, not kill them. These are mixed greens. I have some examples here of almost everything that I put into here. Hazel, chard, radish greens, onion, fresh garlic, leek, chives, cabbage leaves, collards, bok choy. I think that's it. Oh, and daikons. So the salt water needs to be deep enough that the greens are covered completely, and I'll be swishing them around every few minutes. The recipe calls for 30 minutes at this, but I usually start it early and then do my chopping, and it usually turns into hours, but there's no overkill. I have greens that have been chopped and soaked in salt water, and they're getting limp. Kale doesn't get limp unless you massage it, but they're getting limp, so I'm going to strain them in this. So So the sauce was made with ginger, garlic, and peppers, and the recipe tells you so many ounces or so many cloves. I don't measure, I just do what looks good.
Very good.
Okay, so I made some more sauce. When I mixed it before, it just didn't look the right color to me. So I think I underestimated the amount I needed because I had so many extra greens this batch. So we'll try this again. If you look in the bottom, you can see that there's color to the saline now. So I'm going to transfer it to jars, and this is just a canning funnel. And it's going to have a lot of air in it at this point. So I'm going to fill it mostly full and then compress it with my hand. You can see the liquid level in the bottom rising. Not much, but rising. Gonna add a little, and I'll add some more veggies. And as it ferments, it's going to release gas, and you can, if it's in a glass jar, you can see the bubbles rise. That's how you can confirm that there's microbial activity going on. Also, if I filled this full today, it would spill over tomorrow or the next day. So I stop about 2/3 or 3/4 full, and I still usually overfill. So when I finish filling my jars, I'm going to put them in a pan so that when they overflow, it won't mess up my kitchen.
That's a lot of expansion.
Okay, so I'm going to stop now, give it a little more liquid, and
that's the saltwater brine
right.
from soaking the veggies.
So it has to be submerged. If it's not, it will grow mold. And that's why you put a weight on top of it or some gadget to keep it submerged. And when Scott showed me how to do this, he said, sometimes you'll get a little mold around the edge. You just pick it off and it'll be fine. I said, the day I do that, people in hell are going to be putting on parkas, because if it's molded, I'm going to throw it away. But I got over it. I've only seen mold once. And I picked picked it off and it was fine. So I think a little bit more liquid saline. And then a weight. This weight is the right size for a wide mouth jar. And I have had occasions where it sinks and gets lost down in there. But I just try to get everything under the liquid, the weight sitting on top, and then this is the lid that allows gas exchange and also allows you to set the date. So it's ready to incubate now, and I will check it in 7 days. This marks the date it was in, so I can always figure it out. I'll smell it and I'll taste it, and I've never had it ready in 7. It usually averages 10 to 14, and it's a personal preference of taste, I'm sure. The longer you let it go, the more sour it will be. So I just pull it out when it tastes right to me, and that's what everybody else can do.
And perhaps more probiotics in the longer.
I would think.
Yeah.
I'm sure that when I take this off, I'll just put a lid on it and put it in the fridge. And I'm sure that the microbes continue to grow at a very slow rate at low temperature, but very, very slow, because it doesn't get a lot more sour.
Thank you.
Sure.
Here's one of those bottles of kimchi. I did an experiment with this one. I let it ferment 6 weeks. And to me, it's just right. Not too sour, delicious. Probably could have even let it age longer.